started with the application. So we both filled out an application.
It was a written application.
Written application, and included in that written application was a video. We had to sort of do a presentation why we thought we'd be good. And straight from the get-go, we'd had a conversation, and Faz and I had said, and he was very much onto it. He was like, we need to promote Fiji and Fijian food.
Couple of issues. So essentially, it's a long process that we actually aren't allowed to discuss because of the contracts that we've seen. But yeah, there's a submission of multiple dishes. We're very proud to say that all of our dishes were either Fijian or Fijian inspired, and use elements of Fijian ingredients, things like vawaki, things like vundi. Like we tried to, as far as possible, include ingredients available in Australia because you don't have very much time before you have to prepare, but nevertheless food that was connected back to Fiji.
Oh,
favorite seafood.
Without going into too much detail, because you'll see it on our dinner. We cook our Fijian favorite.
Yeah.
And Faz scrapes coconut.
The last time I scraped coconut, I was in high school. And so I thought, because
Hold on, there's a backstory with this coconut. We bought the coconut scrapers, but it was too short. And I saddled it and my butt was too big. So I couldn't scrape the coconut.
But honestly, you wouldn't have done it anyway.
So, excuse me, I was very good at scraping coconuts back in the day.
So was I. But I remember when I was in school, because, when we used to do lovers and things like that when I was in high school, we would scrape coconuts and it was normal. When I got older, I moved to Australia, I moved back to Fiji for a time. I just go to Kundan Singh to scrape the coconut for me and put it in the bag. So when we were trying to do it, and then I was like, okay, do you know something? It's fine, I can scrape the coconut. Boy. I scraped 10 coconuts for the first time since I was 18 years old. I'm now 35. I almost died.
It's a sight for sore eyes.
My back was sore, my wrist was sore. Oh yeah.
Well, we had a certain time to have things done by, and he used up a big gap of that time scraping the coconut.
By the end, when I looked at the clock and I saw how fast it was ticking, I was like scraping the thing and throwing the thing across the room because I was like, I can't deal with this. It's too much. We actually got asked this on the got asked this on the show, and we'll
definitely our mothers.
Yeah, mums. Like mums are so central. My mother is still, and Anna's mother was so central to his life. He lost his mother a few years ago, and we said before that she'll be very, very proud to see all that he's achieved because we learn so much from them. And in our cultures where we come from, like your mother is this, like that's the center of your home. That's where you go to for comfort. Even in a traditional sense, when you need healing or when you need to be recuperated, you go to your mother's side. So, I think that mothers play a big role in just sort of making you who you are. So, yeah, mums.
Yeah. The reason we did the show as well is because we, as Fijians here in Australia, we don't see enough Fijians out there being creative, putting themselves on the line. And we did it because we wanted to show, like, I'm in my 40s now. Like most people would think, as Faz says, I'm over the hill. Most people would say,
I'm just going to the bottom of the hill.
So, what I mean? Like, we want to show people, like, if I can have a go, you as a young person in your teens, in your 20s, in your 30s, can have a go as well. Long time ago when I did do Pop Stars in my 20s, there was no one else doing anything like that. And I thought after myself and then Paulini came along, there'd be more from our community. And there hasn't been. And, like you see a lot of footy players, but that's it. And there's so many creative people within our community that are doing it. And I would just say in the Faz that I've started to notice that a lot of Africans that migrated here after we've been here, we've started to see more of them within the creative industries. And I said, it really disappoints me that our own young people haven't, taken a step towards it or maybe been afraid to do it. So we did it in the hopes that it'll push people and shake a few young people within our community.
I think it's one of the things as well. I still live my life between Fiji and Australia. So I was just in Suva last week. I was there for about a month, which is good. I still have business in Suva. I still do media in Suva. And I think that one of the things that I hope people will do, young people will do, especially people who are still back at home. It's not about like having to step out of your comfort zone in a place that you migrate to. It's just about like stepping out of your comfort zone, full stop. Most people, you know, within the Fiji, and I've gotten a lot of that comment recently from, you know, friends and acquaintances, people who follow me, that like, oh my goodness, I didn't know that you could cook. Like I thought your life was all about fashion. And it's like, you know, like you can have multiple interests in life. You can do multiple things in life.
Yeah.
Just because I've done fashion in Fiji and that's what I'm known for such a long time, it doesn't mean that that's all I can do. And I hope that like Anna said, you know, our young people, we just need to be more brave. We need to be more brave. We talk about, I mean, shame is a very big part of our culture. I think that we use shame as a form of discipline for children, for, you know, for formative years. And then as we get older, we continue to use shame to stop people from progressing, because sometimes people feel threatened by progress, so they feel threatened by things that are different. So, you know, it's very common, people be like, say, you know, don't be too much, you know, like, or like, you know, like, oh, via, like, how, you know, like, we need to kind of like stop that.
Change that narrative.
We have to change that narrative, because at the end of the day, nobody's too much. You know, there's no such thing as too much. And
do it.
You know, everybody should just do it. And it's not reserved for a specific type of person. It doesn't, you know, it's not a matter of, you know, what family you come from. It's not a matter of your access to wealth. It's none of those things.
No.
It's just about like getting out there. You look right now, you know, you've got that TikTok star from Fiji, Shemont, right? Like this guy just did these like random like fashion videos, and he's like now in the New York Times. That's a boy right from home, you know, who just used whatever he had around him to create something fun and vibrant. So
creative.
And we just got to create. Everybody just has to create.